Hi, this is Little Dwarf playing games while rambling coherently into a microphone. Why? Well, just because I can. And I continue with Disco Elysium Blind. Now, I have this thought here about becoming the art cop, and I think I will, actually. So, actual art degree. Yes, it's another copper type, the worst one, the most savage and brutal, the art cop. Nothing is good enough for him, everything is shit. You have to employ an armada of adjectives to depict and demean the mediocrity of the works and visual institutions around you. Really flex that critical muscle until the vocabulary for punishing mediocrity becomes second nature. And let's get on that. And also, let's put on a hat. This one is nice, plus 2 logic. Although it looks like shit, but you know, what can you do?
The shaggy-haired girl kneels on the sea ice. She looks up as you approach.
So you talked to my associates, right? Are you going to help us? With the church, I mean.
I'll help you.
Great. Let us know if there's any progress, will ya? We've been waiting for weeks here.
I'd like to know more about your associates.
My associates? I haven't got much to say about them.
What do you mean? You must know something about them.
Of course I do. I just don't tell people about my friends and who they are and so on. I don't provide information on them.
To the cops.
What about you? Tell me something about yourself.
Me? I'm a silver bird.
Okay.
Don't know what makes you think it'll be any different later, but...
The others told me you went inside the church. What did you see in there?
Oh, that. You're not going to believe me. There's no point in me telling you.
She's less prone to blurt it out, crab man, than the others.
Go ahead and tell me.
Okay. I went in and I saw a woman next to one of those machines there. Noid calls it a mainframe. She was dressed like someone who's been raised by their grandmother, you know, strange old clothes. Had this absent expression, didn't say anything, just stood still.
Go on.
And then, you know, right behind her, a man crawled down the wall, upside down like a crab, down the church wall. I think the woman didn't even know he was there. He was completely silent. He stopped right before he got to the floor, then just hung there like that, looking at me, right at me. I fucking turned around and walked out. End of story.
Like a crab, you say?
The lieutenant nods, his face is stone. What did this crabman look like?
It was too dark. I couldn't tell exactly.
Come on. She obviously could. She already went into detail.
Come on, quit stalling on me. What did he look like?
He looked like a banger, okay? He was all muscular and stuff. Had a mesh tank top. I know it sounds ridiculous, but that only made it scarier in a way.
A crab and a banger?
Yes, a banger. As in a mess gang member. I know what it sounds like, but that's what I saw.
A gangster crabman. Yeah, I don't believe you. Although, I guess that kind of depends. I do believe she's not lying, so I do believe she believes that's what she saw, but I don't believe it was actually a crabman. So in a way, I do believe you.
Why?
Well, what would you stand to gain by lying?
Nothing. Anyway, what else?
That's all for now. Yeah, the running bug is still present. It's a bit annoying, not gonna lie. Is it that I can't run with this? But why would it...
Honorable One, you have accumulated a substantial amount of honor points on your life path. You are a man most virtuous.
I only try my best. It's the most any of us can do.
Oh, the modesty on this one. Another 10 honor points for you, sir. You are on the fast track to becoming one of the rarest, most revered of all police officers, an honor cop.
My honor is my life.
Yes, your deeds are spoken for you, Honorable One. But to fully drape oneself in an eternal cloak of honor, a ritual must be completed. A rite of honor. Even among the honorable, only the most dignified are deemed worthy. But you, O Honorable One, have excelled in honor. Honor comes from deep within you, and to truly know oneself, to know one's honor, one must reach deep within oneself and touch one's honor. You need to bring the thumb of your right hand, your sword hand, to your rectum and stick it in there to form the arch of honor.
Okay, I don't think I'm going to be able to stop myself. Being the honor cop is everything I ever wanted in life, but just like that, outside with people, what about people?
People will be in awe, admiring a police officer most honorable, in a sacred ritual of uttermost righteousness.
Come on. I still can be the honor cop without sticking a finger up my ass. You're crazy if you think I'm going to stick a finger up my ass.
Most dishonorable are those who have known honor, carried honor in their hearts, and then disowned honor. They are the honor fallen. You brought much shame on your family today. Your name will forever be tarnished by this most shameful of deeds. Be forever banished, shameful one.
I do regret it a little, but, you know, there are limits to what I'm willing to do for honor. And publicly sticking my finger in my ass, you know, with other people around, it's probably not that. Especially because it seems to me that it's only tangentially related to honor, if at all. This barrel has been recently discarded. It smells of fuel oil. These rusty gears used to turn the whole machine. The chain trails off into the ocean, to God knows where.
An old door, worn by elements, guards the depot. The wind has blown a sand dune in front of it. The door hasn't been opened in a long while. You see a handle.
What is this thing anyway?
It's military. A service depot of some sort.
Used to service what?
The washerwoman mentioned a depot of the coast. She said it was for moving ammo and cargo across the bay. This might be it.
It may have been used to service an aerostatic battleship in the atmosphere, or a fortification, like a sea fort in the bay.
Okay, I only have one try, so I'm not going to do it yet. If I equip this, will it help?
An old door, worn by elements.
No. +1 rhetoric, -1 empathy. Interesting. How does that compare to this? Conceptualization, suggestion. Okay, I actually prefer this, to be honest. Someone made a campfire here a long time ago. A rusted broken control box for the radio relay tower. This ladder is too rusty to climb. The sea air has eaten away at it. Scented scarf. But that would replace my tie, right? Right? Yes. I don't want to replace my tie. It's far too awesome for that. Tiny inlets there, off in the far distance, where the posts trail toward.
Someone has left an unidentifiable article of clothing on this railing. It smells really bad. It's streaked with dried seagull shit and tangled with pieces of seaweed. A dangling arm suggests that there might be a jacket beneath the crust of filth. It seems likely that it was left in the surf until someone laid it out on this fence to dry out. Unfortunately, that just seems to have stiffened it into a shapeless mass.
Please tell me you're not taking that with you.
It might be a clue.
A clue? You think our suspect is a seagull who's been defecating on unsuspecting jackets?
It could have been multiple seagulls.
A poet could write a dozen verses and still not begin to capture the profound vexation in that sigh. You should still take it.
Yes, you're right. I will. This filthy rag has been at the mercy of the elements for quite some time now. It's streaked with seagull shit and abnormally stiff from the god knows what natural processes. You can't even tell what brand it is.
As you hold it in your hands, it makes an uncomfortable crunching sound.
Man, how did this jacket get so disgusting?
It's a sordid, filthy tale, not for the weak. Are you sure you can stomach it? It occurs to you that you're not even holding the jacket itself, but rather the thick crust of jetsam and seagull shit that ensconces it.
Gross.
Why? Why did you think about it? Look at your hands. They're covered in muck.
Flick your hands.
Now you're just flicking that shit everywhere. This is a disaster. You'll never get the smell out. As you hold it in your hands, it makes an uncomfortable crunching sound.
Yeah, why did I do it again? Great question.
There is no why.
Great question, game. Vagrants have recently painted the tarp red. Water drips from it. A coin-operated weighing machine hasn't been used for a decade. A makeshift roof. Vagrants have tried to make the boardwalk habitable. The tarp will still keep out neither rain nor snow nor wind. What even is that? I guess I could try prying it open. It doesn't seem to be someone's private property. Postcard from Couronne. This one has hell written on its back. It could not be further from the truth. It's the boom years in Couronne. It's the nicest district in Revachol West and is enjoying a sun-drenched day. Tall and handsome buildings rise from the riverside, steel iron and yellow limestone, with cloud shadows sliding on the facades. A big wine canister, open and empty. Careful there, the floorboards look rotten and weak.
There's some tear, an empty cigarette package, and a crumpled kebab wrapper in the trash bin. 2 empty bottles of Tallulah vodka and a can of black potent porter is all you find.
A tragedy.
The lieutenant looks in the can, eyes watering from the smell.
He shakes his head with genuine sadness.
Examine the cigarette package.
Whoever tossed it here was a heavy smoker. The brand name reads Red Astra. Red Astra is the black market version of Astra cigarettes, known for their high tar content. You see traces of mayonnaise and ketchup on it, as well as a tomato wedge. The wrapper reads Shish Kebab Revachol. It's no older than a day or two. No mold yet. Indirect modes of taxation. Turns out those Financial Oversight Committee gangsters stuffed millions of hard-earned dividends away in the last place anyone thought to look. The hearts and minds of everyday Revacholians. You need to spread that deregulation gospel to the people. Tell them about that foreign fair tax. Preach that 98% gross burden. Preach it, preacher man. Set the brothers free. Taxes are racist.
Ultra-liberal dialogue options give you +1 real. -1 empathy. Yeah, that's about right. The ultra-liberals, the proponents of the hardcore job market are not known for their empathy. I might keep it for now, although, to be honest, I'm not sure how often that will come into play in reality. The coin-operated viewer here has been out of order for years.
There's some tear.
Stop messing with the coin viewer and hold on to something.
A man lies on the boardwalk, his limbs bent and neck turned at an unnatural angle. Right next to him is an empty bottle of spirits. In his cramped hand, a chewing gum wrapper.
Wow, he's dead? I didn't really realize that.
Hold on.
The lieutenant squats next to the corpse and examines the face. 2 bulging eyes stare back at him, void of any signs of life.
Lividity is faintly pronounced. Whoever this is has been dead for 2 days. No longer. We need to investigate.
He stands up and shivers as a gust of wind blows through his bomber jacket.
Another dead body. This is your job. Steel yourself. Calm now. Carefully. Just another day. Just another dead body. Breathe. There's some dried blood on the metal bench, right where the corpse's head rests. The floorboards are rotten and slippery wet around the hole. An empty bottle lies nearby. A chewing gum wrapper is clutched in his fist. Grabowski spearmint chewing gum. Green leaves on the cover. The man's mouth is half agape from the terror of the fall. The blackness of death. Stench. You think you see white chewing gum too?
He ate the whole pack, right? It's to cover the smell of alcohol before going home. The worst thing is, I've seen it before. Almost the same scenario. Even the chewing gum. It's always the same.
In a ditch off a road below the 881, he thinks. A young father. Then he shakes his head to make the memory stop. A .75 liter Tallulah vodka with its cap missing. There's hardly anything left inside.
Tear all around us.
He looks at the two other bottles near the coin-operated viewer, then at your yellow plastic bag.
I'd prefer if you didn't collect them this time. It's not proper.
True. It feels disrespectful. A dried chunk of blood covers the hair at the back of his head. An open wound. It's sticky and cold to your touch. This is what killed him. This is where he came out of himself, drop by drop, when he was unconscious. It took 3, maybe 4 minutes.
I don't see any other major wounds, do you?
Hard to say.
Seems like the head wound was fatal. It's exactly the shape of the bench.
The entire boardwalk creaks in the wind as you take a step back. He's wearing mud-caked boots, beige trousers, and an old brown leather jacket with a bright blue lining. There are traces of kebab sauce on his chest. You find some sunflower seeds and a rain-soaked library card folded into 2. His jacket feels sodden and heavy under your hand.
Good. We should take a look at that library card after this is done.
The man has fallen through a crack in the boardwalk and hit his head against the metal bench. Coagulated blood covers his black hair. One of his feet is still dangling through the hole. A bad fall. It might have been dark outside. This place is a minefield in the dark. His expression is dull, like the sea behind him. Drops of water shining on his mustache. His eyes, empty and wide, look frightening in their frozen gaze. Height, 170 to 175 centimeters. Curly hair, stout build. Age, approximately 50 to 60 years. He was confused when he died. Confused and alone, most likely. Overcome with the awful surprise of it all. He was just about to head home. The first step back home proved to be his last. That's what the chewing gum seems to point to as well.
Looks like one of the locals. He'd have to know this spot to come here. You don't just walk over here.
He looks south.
That's just a lazy assumption. What do you think?
This is an omen, a sign from above. Don't start drinking again.
He looks like me. I could have ended up just like him, dead on some empty boardwalk with a bottle next to my corpse.
Well, at least you're not married.
The lieutenant points at the ring on the man's left hand. The flesh around it swollen and grey.
Or, what if you are?
But let's try to not run ahead. For now, all we know is that he's an unidentified middle-aged man found dead on the Martinez boardwalk.
What do you think happened here?
Death by misadventure. He slipped and fell through the boardwalk. A truly unfortunate accident. If it wouldn't have been for that bench, he'd be alive.
Could it be related to the lynching?
No, I don't see anything that points in that direction. For now, let's treat this case as a simple, albeit sad, accident, unrelated to the murder case.
Agreed. If this somehow converges later, why not? But keep it simple for now.
Do you think he was drunk?
Oh, yes.
What about alcohol poisoning and liver failure?
Some symptoms of acute alcohol poisoning could have definitely played a role here. Severe confusion, respiratory depression, unpredictable behavior. But I think that death arrived through head trauma, not liver failure.
What about the kebab?
What about it? The deceased ate some kebab. It's probably from a nearby place, maybe in the Pox.
Sometimes a kebab is just a kebab.
Someone should be held responsible for this broken boardwalk. It's dangerous. There is a government, ostensibly, so they should take care of things like that.
They'll seal this place off after the news reaches the coalition officials. I doubt that they have enough resources to actually repair the boardwalk. Not that sealing it off would keep anyone away. All it does is keep the city council's hands clean.
He smiles sourly. Right.
It does seem to be a pretty straightforward misadventure, although there's still a question of identifying the body.
What should we do with him?
From where I stand, I can see two options. We either take the case and follow the leads to identify the body on our own, or we report back to the station and leave this for our colleagues to handle.
What about the field autopsy?
A field autopsy isn't necessary if the cause of death doesn't appear to be criminal, and this looks like a simple accident to me. I'd say we should just write down head trauma in the autopsy report and leave it at that. It would save us at least 2 hours of unnecessary work.
Isn't that kind of sloppy?
Maybe, but we don't really have much time or resources to spare. The guys at processing will take care of the rest.
Well, we found him, we should finish this.
Alright, we should first examine the library card you found. Then we can call the station from my kinema. Let them know we are taking the case.
A library card found from the pocket of a dead man on the Martinez Broadwalk. It still sounds slightly damp to the touch. The cover bears the stamp of the Jamrock Public Library.
The library card is folded into two and still slightly wet to the touch. The front side reads, Central Jamrock Public Library Card, issued to Billy Mejean, expires July 53. Billy is a unisex name. Could be the deceased, or his family member. If lost, please return the card to the library. Dial 005 02 55211 or visit us at Moreau Street, 78, Jamrock. Business hours, 900 to 1800.
Okay, so I can call the library about him.
Good. We should give them a call from my kinema. See if we can learn anything about Billy Mejean.
Whoever owns this card is an avid reader. You find a list of books written in blue pencil. Radio thriller. Stand a little less between me and the sun. The last one in the list is The Glinton Curve by M. Theobald. A library stamp indicates that the book has been returned. Most of these titles seem to be in the sci-fi genre. Some thrillers too.
Moonshine, probably. Smells like tasty fermentation. Yeah, I don't know what's up with the running. Like, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. I don't really understand it. Okay, let's finally get into the church.
Heavy wooden doors, more than twice your height, stand shut in front of you. The lock turns easily. You hear a click as the shackle pops open.
Let's go.
As you do, you hear the echo of the doomed commercial area, its black holes and dusty machines. Then the feeling passes. A great whoosh of air rushes into the dark innards of the church, as though rushing to fill a great vacuum in the heart of the city.
A strange stillness fills you as you look ahead. You should walk here, not run. Well, to be honest, I don't know how. This grotesque wooden figure looks half-finished. This figure will be added later. Was added later. It's not part of the original church. It feels like it's trying to become one with the church. More of the forked lightning patterns you saw outside. Bark beetles? Looks like intentional. Some forgotten style. And now you're running. The blackboard is filled with complex equations. They look really recent. The bowl is filled with water. A live wire runs directly into it.
The silence in this part of the church, it's almost palpable. All the shifting matter and shuffling of living things is gone. Nothing seems to exist beyond the church anymore. Maybe if you were to stand in just the right spot, Even your footsteps would be completely silent.
I think I still hear something.
And then it's gone. Almost all of it. But for the faintest of hums. It seems the sound here is detached from its source somehow, if not blotted out outright. Truly unusual. You can hardly hear your own breathing.
And stomp your feet and clasp your hands.
You produce a few muffled thumps, after which the silence feels even more total, somehow.
Yell as loud as you can.
Your voice is barely audible. Not a howl, but the softest of whimpers.
What's happening?
The lieutenant points to his ears and shakes his head. Then he leans closer.
Can you hear anything?
Not really. It's extraordinary. I've never experienced anything like this.
I wonder why the church was built with such strange acoustics.
His detached tone conceals how uncomfortable he is. Maybe the church was designed this way to prevent boisterous activity, singing and dancing on its premises.
Maybe they wanted to discourage singing and dancing.
Could be.
He doesn't seem entirely convinced, though. The orderly rows of ceiling panels become barely visible, then disappear completely in the darkness of the tower overhead.
Yeah, my perception is shit, and I can't rechange my items, so I guess I'll just roll it.
Just darkness without end. It makes your head spin.
What's the darkness like?
Filled with vague shapes of woodwork, the sense of a great height. It's like you see your own face reflected back at you in the vanishing geometry. A strange, alien image that's supposed to be you.
Try to make out something.
There's nothing. You're dizzy and disoriented as you see dark and more dark rising.
Officer, what are you looking at?
He follows your gaze, attempting to see whatever it is that you are seeing.
You see something hanging from the rafters, looking straight at you with dark eyes. Maybe it's possible to talk to it.
Well,
Is that a man? Looks more like part of the carpentry of the building came alive and is now studying you intently.
this is the police. Show yourself.
The man leaned forward a little, fixing you with a steady, unreadable gaze, then speaks.
Habitual alcohol use has made you into a scared little pussy, Holmes. But don't worry, everything's gonna be alright. You come to the right place.
That accent is Villalobos, a peninsula in Mesk and a district in general. There's a sizable contingent of Villalobos-speaking Mesks in Revachol.
The right place for what?
Here you can receive the mother's love. And when you're ready, she will take your hand and lift you out of the despair at the bottom of that bottle.
This man is obviously a habitual narcotics user. Do we really need to question him?
I'm put off by this religious stuff, he thinks. And maybe the ceiling climbing, too. It's all very hard to square with the lieutenant's own view of reality. Hey, and what was that about the bottle again? You haven't even drank that much lately. Lay off it already. Shish.
Yeah, I guess I have a bit of a problem.
Está crudo, way. I see deep inside you. Your body and your spirit are suffering greatly from overindulgence. And you don't even know it.
Oh, believe me, I'm very in touch with my suffering.
Not all of it. I was like you once. You don't know all the havoc El Vino is wrecking on your mind and your spirit. Necesita parar, homie.
You know, actually, since we're here, You may want to pay attention to what the ceiling climber is saying.
Well, this is all well and good, but we need to talk about the unlicensed occupation of ecclesiastic property.
The only thing we need to talk about is how the mother can really help you, Holmes. This is the Church of the Mother of Silence. You are welcome here.
He sways gently on the beams, waiting for you to take it all in.
You have no idea what the fuck he's talking about. Is he just trying to throw you off your game? 'Tis not an act, my liege, saving perchance he hath deceived his very self. This man is a zealot.
Do you know where the other spooker is?
Other spooker? Oh, esa viejita es muy estudiosa. Don't know, Holmes.
Viejita is grandma?
So there is another person living in the church, and it's a viejita.
No. I just call her viejita because of her clothes. She's actually quite young. Or maybe not that young. Age is just one of the many masks we wear.
And you don't know where she is?
That's what I said, Holmes.
How can you not know when you both live here?
Don't really follow her comings and goings. Just see her typing on her computer now and then. We got different interests.
So there's nothing else you got to tell me?
I'm afraid not, Essay. You just have to wait until she comes back, or...
Some ravers want to turn this place into a nightclub.
The ones in the tent outside, right? I see them. Think they scared of me.
Well, do they have a reason to be scared?
Nah, man. They look pretty funny. And I don't harm no one anymore.
So what do you think about the nightclub?
Why not? They wouldn't bother me none. I'm usually way up there, imbibing. Ain't no music on earth that can reach where I go. Might even be nice to have some company.
He said that in spite of himself. He's more attached to the human than he'd like to think.
You must be the crabman.
Never known myself to be a crab. But if that's the name you got for me, I won't stop you from using it.
It's your neighbors who came up with that name, not me.
I always thought of myself more like a flame, flickering along the rafters and beams. It may be that I gotta work on my technique.
That's not the only technique he's working on. Look at those carved sculptures. And is that a satchel of tools over there?
Did you carve all of those sculptures?
Sure am. Whittling wood used to be something I just did to busy my hands. Now I use those same hands in service of something greater than my own restlessness.
All right, let's consider the context and meaning here.
I see what you've done here. It's as if these figures are trying to become one with the church, or perhaps with the mother herself.
It's all just for the mother, man. No need to overthink it.
What were you before you became a crabman and a woodcarver?
I was in a gangway, but my memories of that time are fading. Most of them are already gone.
I lost my memory too. It haunts me.
No, man. You gotta let that shit go. Then the mother's light touch will fill you with rapture.
Do you remember your name, sir?
Tiago's my name. But those syllables don't mean much to me these days. A name isn't just your identity, but also, so to speak, your place amongst your fellows. Your place in the world. I ain't got no use for such a place anymore.
My name's Harry.
That's just the thing, Holmes. None of that matters.
He ignores your hand, his limbs a mere shadow below the ceiling. What are you doing here?
This is a special place. There's a perforation in the world up there. A way out into nothingness. This church was built around it. for purposes of veneration. I circled it, nurtured by the silence bestowed by the mother. One of these days, I'll be pure enough to go drink from it directly.
Who's this mother of silence you keep talking about?
Oh, that's no simple question, I said. She is one who can be painted or sculpted. She is a cavity in the dark beyond sense. She saved me, but I couldn't describe her to you. No one can, Holmes, and no one ever will.
What will happen once you drink from the perforation?
I will be incinerated, but not destroyed. Finally, I won with the state of the world before reality began.
That sounds a bit like substitution behavior, no? You know a thing or two about that.
I still don't understand what you're doing in this church.
I'm a seraph, Holmes. I sing the mother's glory.
It doesn't really make sense for you to sing if she's a mother of silence.
I don't mean literal singing, Holmes. This is the mother of silence we're talking about. It's the singing of a burning heart. You may be thinking, but fire crackles. No, Holmes. That's the material that's burning. The flames themselves are without sound.
How did you even find this place?
Hard to say. I think I did some construction work here, back when I still had material worries. Up there, I realized what the true purpose of the church was. Been spending a lot of time here ever since. The past is nothing to me now, eh? It didn't belong to me.
You sure you didn't just switch one drug for another?
It's not like that at all, man. It's just faith and joyful service.
Too gleeful, those words. He is lying. Not to you, to his very own self.
Faith is kind of a drug.
I heard that before, Way. And I know I can't convince you on the spot. But think, when's the last time you woke up from silent communion with a hangover, regretting what you did last night?
There are drugs darker than alcohol circling your system.
Let's agree to disagree.
I know it will take time. Don't sweat it.
The sinewy figure lingers on the wooden beams, blending into the shadows.
You've been here a long time. Do you know why the church has been abandoned?
Police raid a while back.
He responds, his voice suddenly flat.
Did you witness it?
Not really. Or at least I don't remember much of it anymore. The mother's love has done its job. That's what's so great about the mother. It lets you forget about everything.
It looks like he truly doesn't remember. There's a vagueness to his sense of time.
Okay, thanks. Guess that's it for now. Frost has drawn flowers on the ground, on the glass, obscuring the view. A silk scarf, but that would require me to ditch my necktie, and I love it, so I'm not even going to think about it. A cracked pane of glass, colorful. +1 empathy, and that's potentially, you know, I think that stuff kind of belongs to them, so...
A machine stands in the corner, watched over by the figures on the stained glass window. It's turned on and quivering with soft electricity.
Another radio computer. And this time it's already turned on.
He seems cautious around the machine.
These machines sometimes harbor traps, he thinks. Alarm systems and the like. Let's be careful.
We should leave. I doubt this place bears any connection to the case.
Yes, but this machine looks just like the one in the doomed commercial area.
It's also quite similar to the one we have down at the station. Must be the same model.
He inspects the framework, careful not to touch anything.
A quaint little box of radio waves.
Let me investigate it.
You see fluorescent play and print buttons on the keyboard. A hatch connected to the central compartment is wide open. The lieutenant says nothing. You see the machine's glowing frame reflected back from his diamond-shaped glasses. You're free to proceed. Behind the hatch sits a cube-like crisscross of filaments, smoldering in the dark like fireflies. Silver tape on the side says, in black marker, log, February to March. Another filament memory. Press play to talk with the repeater. Nothing happens. The speaker comes to life. Static seeps through the machine's planar magnetic driver. An old lady greets you. Her voice sounds 100 years old.
Good afternoon, Fortress Accident on Saint-Brun. This is the East Insulindian Repeater Station 1. Please repeat. Is this the personal log?
Whoa, Yvonne. So, are you... What? Are you just... a lady who answers everyone's radio from anywhere? Like what? I thought you were an employee of that company, specifically. How are you?
Good, thank you. Please repeat. Is this the personal log?
I looked inside the core, but the tape on the filament said log.
Good. Please repeat the password.
Let's look around. There's no use trying to guess the answer. Maybe he knows something.
I don't know the password.
Received. I will register this login attempt. Fortress Accident, is there anything else I can do for you today?
Fortress Accident? Like the one in the doomed commercial area?
I have 2 machines registered to this company name in Martinez. One on Saint-Brun, the other on Rue de Saint-Ghislaine.
Saint-Brun, that's the church. And Rue de Saint-Ghislaine? That's the doomed commercial area.
Anything else I can help you with? Goodbye, Fortress Accident.
The machine's keyboard is still illuminated, revealing fluorescent play and print buttons.
A portable Harman Waushi tape recorder. Is it possible it's recording something? 2 decks of reel-to-reel tapes spinning on empty.
Oh, hey, Wei. There's coffee in the back. Oh, wait. I meant the mother's love.
Okay, so I can't... have you by any chance heard the Vejita say the password to her radio computer?
Too many times, Essay. You need it for something.
Surveys are a good way to fish for personal information, especially in the name of public safety.
What? That's insane. Yes, it's for a first-degree murder investigation in Martinez.
The lieutenant raises his eyebrow, but doesn't say anything.
Don't sweat it, Vato. The password is afterlife death.
That is true. But what comes after death?
Why you think of that? Makes me almost pity La Nilita Pequeña when I hear it. I think we're done here, Essay.
The figure crawls off into the darkness above.
That was an interesting conversation. However, I'm still not sure how it's relevant to our investigation.
Actual art degree. Trite, contrived, mediocre, milquetoast, amateurish, infantile, cliché and gonorrhea-ridden peon to conformism. I fucked me. Affront to humanity. War crime. Should literally be tried for war crimes. Resolutely shit. Lacking in imagination. Uninformed reimagining of. Lip-wristed, premature, ill-informed attempt at. Talentless fuckfest. Recidivistic shit peddler. Pedantic, listless, savagely boring. Just one repulsive laugh after another.
Okay, so it's just a long streak of savage critique. -1 hand-eye coordination. Hands shake from anger at how shit it all is. Conceptualization passives heal +1 morale and give +10 XP. Actually, that's pretty great. 10 XP? You know, they don't happen that often, but still. +10 XP? I can take that.
The machine's keyboard is still illuminated. The speaker comes to life.
Good afternoon. Fortress accident and good. Please repeat the password.
After life, death.
Good. I have unlocked the filament. After ending the call, please press print to access the filament. Fortress accident, is there anything else I can do for you today? Goodbye, Fortress accident.
The machine's keyboard is still illuminated. The printer prints out a long text document with dated paragraphs. It looks a bit like someone's journal. The first entry, made on the 4th of February, 51, by an unknown author, is short and concise. Arrived at the church. The door was boarded up, so I used the crowbar to get inside. Looks like the place has been deserted. Nothing out of the ordinary, but I'll ask around. Need to figure out how to get the electricity in. The lieutenant leans closer, scouring the printout over your shoulder. Just as you finish reading, he looks up, muttering under his breath.
4th of February. That's over a month ago. Whoever set up those machines has been here for quite a while.
Do you think this log might be connected to the case?
Our case? No, I don't think so. It must be some local eccentric.
6th of February, 51. Had a little chat with the local fishermen. Said I shouldn't go near that place, that the church was spooky and ridden with narcotics. It's a little spooky, all right. Still haven't figured out the electricity. 7th of February, 51. Finally got the electricity in. Next on the agenda, a new antenna. I'm thinking ESCA series, something advanced.
Why would she need an antenna?
Why would anyone need any of this equipment here?
He steps on a wire running on the ground, inspecting it with his boot.
8th of February, 51. Bought the antenna, had some problems setting it up. Called Simon for help. Heard the others are back to making art. Drinking somewhere out of town. Sulislav started a rock band again. Lexi has been seen asking money from strangers, but at least the artists have their act together. They're qualified labor. They can get work anywhere. Graphic design, ads. The programmers are doing fine too. I mean, they're programmers. The writers, though, they're fucked. I just have to find out what caused that data loss and be done with it. Still don't understand how it managed to wipe out the backup, when the backup wasn't even connected to the front. I know. Everyone thinks it's impossible. They say I must be lying. I'm here to set it right.
A data loss.
Seems like something to do with radio computers. Unfortunately, I don't know enough about them to understand what the author is saying. Something about the backup data getting destroyed, and how everyone thought it was the author's fault. Let's just keep reading.
Clearly, those are the people from the failed game, you know, in the doomed commercial area. He was talking about how the writers don't have anything to do.
12th of February, 51. Brought some food from the grocery store. Apparently, there's a strike going on in the harbor. Definitely not happy to see the Martinez people again. Everything's now set up in the church. Going to start working tomorrow, 8 a.m.
The strike. We are nearing the date of the murder. Keep reading. I'm interested now. I want to know what's that radio anomaly that sent this person here in the first place.
25th of February, 51. I've been sending data up to Lintel for a while now, trying to recreate the data loss, but nothing. Didn't even feel like logging in, the disappointment. But I did discover a curious audio-spatial anomaly at the back of the church. I've named it the Swallow. It swallows sound. Need to get some mics.
Is she talking about?
The lieutenant looks to the right towards the silence.
28th of February, 51. Yes, the first recordings confirm that the Swallow is real and I'm not just losing my mind. It's a pillar of silence with a diameter of approximately 3 meters. Seems like the higher I go, the less I record. This might be a coincidence, or it could be connected to the data loss that led me here.
The pillar of silence. She is talking about the silence. Is she suggesting it's more than just an architectural quirk?
But what could it be?
The lieutenant doesn't answer. He follows your gaze, studying the basins. The water shines in them. No ripples. March 51. Some kind of young disco men have appeared next to the church. I've been trying to record the silence to find the epicenter, but now it turns out I've also been capturing the future of dance music, one neo-disco song over and over again. Fortunately, the song is so monotonous, I was able to devise an algorithm to factor it out. The other day, one of the disco men came in. Before I could even say hello, she got scared and left. Good, I don't want anyone distracting me from my work.
She must be describing a cell.
A girl on the ice? Sounds like her, yes.
March 51. I got a call from the repeater station. Someone has tried to access the radio computer in our old office in Martinez. Can't do anything about it. The storekeeper still doesn't want to let me inside the building. Thinks I'm part of some kind of curse. How Martinez of her.
That's me. I was one who broke into that computer, and the storekeeper must be Plainson's.
I knew it wasn't a good idea to meddle with the machine.
March 51. A new 2-meter aux cable. Noodles. Crackers. Ping energy drinks. Water. Toothpaste. Gum. Also some canned air. Your reading is interrupted by the sound of the church door opening. A strange woman makes straight for the radio computer.
Breaking into my radio computer, I see.
She glares at you as she holds down the off button.
I do apologize for the intrusion, madame. We are with the RCM, you see.
Well, we're not just breaking in. I'm pursuing a mysterious lead, searching for my lost identity.
You won't find any answers from here.
She barely looks up from the keyboard. You hear the machine whir back to life.
It's just me and my computer, and it has been this way for weeks. Now please give me some room. I need 2 seconds to see that you haven't destroyed anything.
We should talk to her after she has rebooted the machine.
Someone's siphoning electric current from the outside into this antenna.
What is it?
The woman is still hunched over the keyboard, gently illuminated by the pairing machine. I didn't break anything, did I?
No, you just printed out my personal log and wasted some paper.
It doesn't look like a big loss to her. Hey, you're the lead programmer of Wirral Untethered by any chance?
Yes. Or no. Not anymore. That project is dead.
She doesn't seem surprised to be recognized. Rather sad. Something passes over her face before she straightens her back.
What are you doing here?
I am Soona Kilde, the former lead programmer of Fortress Accident and RSA radios. I have over 16 years of programming experience, and I'm proficient in both Vox and Orbis languages. If you're not here to hire me, I don't really know how I can help you.
Did she say over 16 years of experience? She must have started programming when she was still a teenager.
Have you seen the Crabman?
No.
But you know he's around.
Yes.
Well, he's seen you.
And?
Well, I guess it's no big deal to you.
No, you're right. I'm not.
Why are there so many machines in this place?
I brought them here. These are my machines. Please don't touch anything.
Why do you need an antenna?
I use the AR-1 as my RAIM Prefect's processing unit.
I don't understand.
RAIM Prefect is my radio computer.
And that antenna is its processing unit.
Yes? You really don't know anything about radio computers, do you?
I don't really know much about anything in this world, to be honest.
All right. Well, all radio computers perform operations up on air. So in order to gain more processing power, you need to invest in a good antenna.
What's on air?
On the front, the unified front of radio waves, licensed and controlled by Lintel in the East Insulindic region. It's all around us. That's what on air means.
Like love.
And the AR-1? Is it a good antenna?
I guess it is. So far I've been quite satisfied with it. Martinez is an unstable region with bad coverage and the operation has been surprisingly stable. But it's not the cheapest one on the market. So I wouldn't recommend it for your regular red tape operations. Fraser 1000 is a foolproof line for civilians. Anyway, you should do some research before you decide to buy anything. Ask around, compare the prices. There are many milieus dedicated to that sort of thing.
She liked telling me this. It calmed her nerves.
What are you doing with your computer?
I'm working.
Working on what?
Could you just shh for a moment? Or get to the point. I really need to focus on something.
It's not just rudeness. It really is hard to concentrate on whatever she needs to do. And you're not helping.
What are these bowls of water over there?
They are connected to my RAIM Prefect. Whatever you do, just please don't move them, okay? Thanks.
Short and terse. There you have it. Whatever she's using them for, they're hers.
Right, I'll not touch anything.
Great.
What are you doing in an abandoned church?
You really like those questions, don't you?
There's a hint of amusement in her tired eyes. Well, I'm a police officer. It's my job to ask questions.
I'm conducting scientific research here. You can't throw me out.
She says, ready to stand her ground. What research?
I'm looking for the location of a 2mm hole in the world.
Wait, what?
Yeah, that's kind of my question.
She's looking for a disruption in the radio waves. That's what her personal log said. The lieutenant raises his brows, but doesn't say anything.
Is the hole connected to the data loss in your journal?
Yes, that's what led me here. But I suspect it might be something a bit more complicated than that.
A hole in the world? What does that mean exactly?
Exactly. What does it mean? Up to now, it has been impossible to say what it is because it's impossible to measure nothing.
There's something frantic about her as she locks her gaze with you, eyes shining like pearls.
What do you think it is? What qualities does nothing have? How do you measure something that does not exist?
She's suddenly absorbed in the conversation, waiting for you to answer.
Easy. You measure it by the world around it.
Hold on for a moment. We're living in a world that has holes in it? What do you even mean?
I don't know. Are we? That's what I'm trying to figure out here. But how do I figure it out?
I guess you could try doing it by collecting the data on its surrounding, on that which exists.
Exactly. Very true. That's what I've been aiming for. That's why I have those basins. I've tried using hydro transducers to record the silence, to find out where it begins.
Hydro transducers. So that's what those water basins are. Devices for recording sound through water.
But honestly, it's not progressing very well.
She grows silent, staring at her circle of basins. It looks like some ancient ritual.
But does it have anything to do with necroplasmic life forms? Ghosts, in everyday parlance.
Does it have anything to do with ghosts? What about other supernatural entities?
I don't believe in them either.
Yeah, that's probably wise, not believing in them.
Great. What are we talking about? And why?
Do you have any idea where this hole might be located?
Somewhere underneath those roof beams, I assume.
She looks up, trying to pierce the pitch-black heights above, but without much success.
Strange things may flourish in the dark.
Why there?
There's this place at the back of the church. A place where all audible vibrations seem to decease. I've named it the Swallow. And the higher you go, the less you record.
The Pillar of Silence? Are you sure it's not just an architectural quirk?
Maybe, but it's oddly close to the physical coordinates of the data loss that led me to this place.
This is where the crabman lives.
I know.
You don't think he might be somehow responsible?
No, I don't.
She sounds mildly annoyed by this line of questioning. Her hands type in hundreds of commands into the machine.
You said the research isn't going well. Why not?
Because it's just trial and error, trying to locate the Swallow, the exact point in space. And I don't have a... You know what? It would be really helpful if you could just stop talking and let me work.
That's all I wanted to know about the 2mm hole in the world. For now.
Great. Thanks.
How do you feel about anodic dance music?
What? I hate it.
She squints her eyes.
I bet she hasn't even heard it.
Have you even listened to it? Like, actually listened?
Yeah. Like all the time. My tent neighbors don't really ease up with their partying, do they?
She pulls a face that looks absolutely scathing.
Maybe I'd have to be on drugs to get it, but to a sober mind it just sounds like uninspired rug whipping. No idea what it has to do with either dancing or music.
How do you feel about a club for anodic dance music?
This is about those speed freaks in the tent, isn't it? I've got some news for you. It's not a nightclub they want to build here.
So what do they want to build then?
Take a guess, why don't you?
Well, I'm still convinced they want to establish a nightclub for anodic dance music. They said it's their dream.
I can't believe they got you so easily. Go have another talk with those up-and-coming entrepreneurs, will you? Thanks.
Good luck. I'm not coming in there.
About that hole in the world.
The Swallow, you mean? What about it? Great. Thanks.
Okay, I'll let you work in peace for now. But I'll be back. What about this, though? This giant stained glass window. With this saintly woman here. There's a guy with a spear. It's all pretty weird.
In white, silver, and apricot faience, the young mother of humanism stands above you. A crack runs across her body. She is impossibly tall, oval-faced and sad. A dark and radiant majesty. This is her innocence, Dolores Dei.
And Dolores Dei is the pain of God?
Cradled in her arms are a pair of glowing lungs, clearly visible from underneath her flowing dress. You should kneel.
No, I am not religious. I don't recognize religious authority over my life. So no.
Cold wind seeps in from the crack in the glass. Snowdrifts cover the floorboards at your feet. Above, you feel her multicolored eyes on you, inspecting you, as if under a microscope.
Look up.
The woman looks down at you, standing there. She towers among her followers, architects, laymen, courtiers. There is a sad smile on her lips and a glint in her green-blue eye. Of what? Compassion? Remorse? She acknowledges the passing of someone who is still alive. You.
Acknowledges the passing. It's not possible to live. What? Maybe it's mourning, if she's acknowledging the passing of someone.
As that terrible word passes through your mind, the lieutenant draws an X-shaped cross from shoulder to shoulder.
Apparently I have no choice but to do the same.
Your fingertips touch your chest 4 times as you stand in the apricot-colored light of the window. Above you, the woman still smiles, her distant smile, sundered by the crack in the glass.
How did I know this was the mother of humanism?
Despite the damage you've done to yourself, the title appears lodged in your hippocampus. This is Her Innocence, Dolores Dei. The innocence of humanism, internationalism, and the welfare state. Perhaps the most famous human being ever to have lived. No amount of Commodore Red can wipe her sad smile from your brain thing. It has survived the deluge and haunts you still, and will haunt you forever, as it haunts all men.
What exactly is an innocence? I've heard of the system.
The highest category of historic individual, an embodiment of the world spirit.
A tyrant?
In a way, an innocence is elected to office by the founding party, a precedent that has taken place a mere 6 times in the entirety of history. The legal system of the Real Belt is built from the ground up to accommodate an authentic rule should it coincide with our time. An innocence is infallible. The decisions made by one are not decisions. They are inevitabilities. What would have happened anyway? Only accelerated, packed into decades instead of centuries. An innocence is a continuous, compressed event, a sacred human being. It is an honor and a glory to live when one is in office.
Is one in office now?
No, we are alone.
Okay then, when did she rule?
300 years ago, in the wake of the discovery of this Isola, the Insulindian, by explorers from the continent of Muindi. She is, among other things, the innocence of inter-isolary travel and the connected world.
What else do I know about her?
Many things. You know she was a woman of the court, the wife of an influential Marchese, and eventually the principal advisor to Irene la Navigateur, Queen of Suresnes, modern-day Sir La Clé. Also that she was gorgeous beyond beauty, draped in ancient sadness. Are you sure you want to remember this bit of historic trivia? Standing under a long, slender form like this, dwarfed?
Yes! Big bummer! Boring history! Gonna keep it light, man! Keep it moving! Get fucked up instead!
What else? Was she smart?
Terribly. Women of the court were expected to play both contract bridge and chess sufficiently well to prove an interesting challenge to a man. A simple grasp in matters of philosophy, theology, and science was encouraged. She was, by all means, a kept woman. She made the most of her position in the antediluvian court, a court visited by the most prominent thinkers and artists of the day. In secret, she was becoming the era's preeminent philosopher of the state. A scalpel, a piercing gaze. She was an almost preternaturally magnetic and intelligent individual. To her contemporaries, she appeared out of time, a messenger from the future of the species. We all fell in love with her, head over heels. Even before she was declared an innocence, her influence was tremendous.
How come?
It was on her advice that Irene la Navigateur sponsored a number of voyages into the Pale. A costly, often tragic endeavor, ultimately vindicated by the discovery of the new world, the piece of reality you're standing on. She was crowned 2 years after the first expedition returned, setting in motion what is widely considered the greatest era in history. The DeLorean era.
Yeah, I don't really care. To be honest, I have a rather dim view on religions overall as a societal force in today's world, and it's definitely unhealthy to me. If you got to have a religion, it's definitely unhealthy to think of living people as saints who are infallible? Like what? That's pretty deranged. I don't care.
Okay. When her innocence was declared, and the queen she had advised for years fell on her knees before her, she was so overcome with emotion that her lungs started glowing in her chest. Bystanders reported golden filaments lighting the already sunlit chamber around her, clearly visible beneath her dress. I repeat, her lungs started glowing. Do you care now? That is why the lungs are the symbol of love for the cultures of the Real Belt.
Was there something terrifying about her?
Terrifying is a term too emotionally charged for your semantic memory, or what remains of it. But terrifying, it's a simple word. She was bad for humanity, and you shouldn't have started thinking about her.
Well, if there was something bad about her, I want to know.
You already do. Although she is often considered to be the greatest human being to ever live, there was something ominous about Dolores Dei. Constantly surrounded by her terriers, she was the most socially secluded and least self-aware of all the innocences. Some modern thinkers would consider her a war criminal for the campaigns she waged against the Mesk state. And then there were the resettlement programs.
What happened?
The Mesk state tried to detach itself from innocentic rule. Parts of the world were experiencing whiplash from accelerating into secularism. Her mandatory education programs and mass resettlement of upstream Marguerite were problematic as well. Dissenters were suppressed by a military force she called the Army of Humanity, suggesting those who fight against it are not part of humanity. She adored chess, yes, but also military war games. Dolores Dei often holds a tiny tin soldier between her index finger and thumb in icons such as this. She was also blonde, the blondest woman you have ever seen, with green eyes the color of the Pacific, mare interregnum. Little is known of her Marchese husband. It's as if he vanished from history after completing his role, which was to introduce Dolores Dei to court. In conclusion, yes, there is something lonely, paranoid, and even terrifying that people seldom mention, but feel when they think of her. This subtle terror is part of her iconography.
Lieutenant Yefreiter, you've stood there for over 5 minutes.
The lieutenant's calm voice echoes in the cold air of the church.
What are you thinking of, if I may ask?
War criminal. I have a feeling she might be somehow connected to the case.
She's been dead for 300 years. I am almost 1,000% certain she isn't connected to the case.
Well, obviously not personally, but the belief in her might be.
None of this is, in fact. This church, the coast, this isn't a good place to get lost in.
The shards glimmer in the dark. You see little pearls of light on the edges of the crack that splits the female figure. Something was written there. Remains of broken letters line the emulsion. What it said, you do not know.
Okay, crap. I was actually interested in that, so you know what? I'll put a point into this and try again.
The mother of...
So I don't have anything that would upgrade it even further, right? Nope.
The mother of humanism stands above you. A precious and complex jigsaw of broken shards falls into place in front of you. A ghostly reconstruction of the stained glass window. Before it was shattered, there was an older woman beneath the younger one. And a text, a light motif below them both.
What does it say, the motto?
Below both women, in luminous black letters, Après la vie, mort. Après la mort, la vie de nouveau. And then, along the left side, Après le monde, La gré. Après le gré. Le monde nouveau. After life, death. After death, life again. After the world, the pale. After the pale, the world again. This is the great leitmotif of humanism, a summary of the effect of the discovery of this isola, the Insulindian, on human thinking. A tremendous sea change akin to finding life after death. Could these words be the password that unlocks the filament memory?
Interesting. I'll be back then to that other place. Lieutenant, this used to say, after death, after life, death, after...
Death, life again. After the world, the pale. After the pale, the world again. This exaltation is common in Dolorian sacralism. In the early years, it was even incorporated as the RCM slogan. No more, however.
Why?
It was deemed subservient to use a strongly moral intern-related motto. We already suspected of bootlicking. The sentence was also seen as too feminine. It was a macho thing.
What is the RCM motto now?
Justice, union, prudence, and force.
It's alright, although to be honest, I would scratch the force from it. Like, you don't want to put emphasis on it. The police shouldn't be thought of as, a violent arm of the state. It does use violence, but hopefully in the best of systems. It should only use violence when it's absolutely necessary for the protection of people. It's alright.
Ice cool.
Who is this older woman?
The escutcheon on her throne says, Irene the Navigator. She is depicted as an older woman wearing thick-rimmed eyeglasses, holding a golden rights apfel in one hand and a scepter in the other. This is the queen her innocence day advised. Above, she herself is whole. Small figures of wise men, common men, worshippers walk up the stairs to stand at her feet. Secret servicemen, 30 years, stand in a row guarding her. It must have taken years to produce this work in all its dizzying detail.
What shattered this mosaic?
Unknown. The mother of humanism towers above you, a wax painting on a cracked pane of glass. Nothing has changed in her expression.
This is Dolores Dei.
The old woman in the village was right. This must be the Dolorian Church of Humanity in Martinez, or the Small Pinewood Church in some records.
You know of this place?
It's a minor landmark, not easy to find. Most maps misplace it. It was built not long after Ravachol's founding, 300 or so years ago, by first-generation settlers.
On the coast of an uninhabited archipelago where only animals had roamed before, in the wild reeds.
What else do you know?
There used to be 7 stave churches on the coast. Les Sept Sœurs, they call them. The 7 Sisters. Only one remains. The rest were burnt in the revolution or used for building materials. We should be respectful here, although the building appears to be deserted. I do not believe we'll find anything connected to the lynching here. Something else, perhaps?
Respectful? Is the lieutenant a follower of Dolorianism? A pang of guilt? The lieutenant is leaving something out.
Do you know why it was abandoned?
I have a theory, yes. There was a police raid a while back. I heard the place was shot to pieces. The old woman in the village was being tactful with us when she didn't mention it. She has more respect for the RCM than many around here.
Who conducted the raid?
Well, your station was involved, I hear. Although I can't be sure.
How come the lieutenant isn't sure? Is this confidential information?
You're not sure?
3 precincts were involved in the raid, and people say Precinct 41 was one of them.
Well, I don't remember being here.
I am pretty sure it was a clandestine operation. I don't know anything more about it, why it was conducted, or who participated. I try not to pry into extra-district matters.
If I was here, I should find out what I was doing.
Good luck. You will not get information on a confidential operation from your station secretary just by calling. If you really don't remember, it might be better to keep this one forgotten. It happened a while ago. It's unimportant to our business in Martinez now.
Kim, are you a follower of Dolorianism?
Yes, we all are. Her name, body, and rule are synonymous with humanism. The laws we enforce are Dolorian in origin.
I didn't think you were spiritual.
It's not spiritual, it's constitutional. The Dolorian system does not demand faith, only accordance.
Okay, I'll talk to the kids, but next time, because this episode has been long enough. So I'm going to save and end it for now. That's all for this one, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!